Today is October 5th, 2023. Today's the day that I go see my probation officer. Apparently, this person is a temporary probation officer because I keep insisting to every one of them that I'm innocent. Anyway, in November, I'm going to have a court hearing, and as to the reason why I was unable to pay restitution. And my lawyer knows everything about it. And my lawyer on the previous occasion told the court, Your Honor, he was unemployed, so he could not pay. Anyway, is there any, and also, I'm thinking to myself, Your Honor, no one hires a convicted felon to work as an engineer in this world. Anyway, so I have that I have that to look forward to in November. But for now, today I'll go see that probation officer, and that probation officer will ask me, have you been paying the supervision fee? And I will tell the probation officer, I mailed it yesterday. So now to a serious talk about exploration of, I guess I was going to call this like a categorization of possible trades that I have, right? So these are the possible trades that I would have. And so here it goes, okay? So I'm looking here, and now this is the previous day's high. This is the previous day's low. This is the previous day's close, okay? This is today's open, which was lower than the close. So it was bearish to start off the day, which was essentially was inverse of what the stock was going to do throughout the day. So it was misleading. So the futures or pre-market data was exhibiting the fact that it was going to be a down day. I mean, it was essentially exhibiting it. It was up a little bit and started to come to collapse and get down to this point here. And so it quickly reached a certain point here, and I'm sure as I become more acclimated to day trading that I'm going to pick up more things in my trading. But for now, I will be looking at these critical areas of interest so that I can start trading the right way instead of just trading without knowing anything. And so right off the bat, I see that there are types of trades that I could possibly take. So if I look here, there is a line that is associated that was on a previous day of 300, which was hovered around as support. If I look at it for a couple of days, 2 days, so I look over here, there was a clear establishment of a support, a very strong support at 300, which I could have translated into possibly having this day as well, as it did. So the previous day's action was actually a predictor of what will happen this day, which is, first of all, this strong support carried over to this day, as well as this area here, which impacted the pre-market. So when I look at this chart, I see notable areas of interest. And one area of notable interest is just at the top at here, where it closed above here, which would probably been a limitation in my trading because it went all the way up to the top towards the end of the day. So when I look at this chart, I'm looking at more carefully, and now I'm analyzing it. I'm understanding the significance of these areas of interest. One of them is the previous day's high can exhibit tendency to be a resistance. And anywhere in between these, any of these lines are called in-betweens. In-between meaning that there isn't a clearly established support areas where the stocks will trade, where the stock price will respect that particular uh, level. Okay, so I'm looking at here at the beginning of it. The previous day's high was not reached initially. The previous day's close is here, and the previous day's low was here, and this is the open. And as clearly as evident as it did dip a little bit on a momentary basis, but I should have known that there was a strong support in this region, and therefore there would have been a rebound based on the previous day's information. And so looking at this type of situation on a swing trade basis, on a intraday basis, it is also a previous day's levels are predictor of what will happen, such as the previous day's highs, previous day's lows. Also, a supported areas will translate as well. So I'm looking at this situation and I'm going to embed this into my mind. So when I trade, I know. And one day and as I become more acclimated into these type of trades, and then I'll become more proficient in identifying these smaller trend lines here as well. So if I were to draw this, there should be a little box here. I've learned something about a box today. Apparently a box that is representative of a statistical standard deviation, apparently. So this is a standard deviation for this range, and it lasted from 10:45 to 12:45, so approximately about 2 hours. It went sideways for 2 hours, right here to right here. It went usually at about 10 o'clock, Wall Street goes for lunch, and so maybe that's what's happening right there. And maybe the lunch was an extended lunch or something. Maybe that's why it's going sideways. So if I were to pinpoint exactly the locations of significance is one region, region two. Okay, so I would say if I were to label it, I would say that would be region um, one. Okay, that would be region one. And then I wonder if I can make the arrow point up, 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 up. oh, okay, down. Okay, let's see if I can change that to down. Okay, there we go. So that'll be region one right there. Okay, which is essentially defining the previous day's high. Then I will label this region here, which essentially is a trend line that has been established. It's an established trend line right there. That's region two. So essentially, this is behaving just like a resistance curve, like a trend curve, as though there was a steady, purposeful direction guiding up to a certain buy area. Okay. And if I go back here now, if I were to draw a little line here, there would be a little box, right? So there would be a little box here, which essentially created a trading range. So when I look at this, there's a region two that I specify as something that the market is respecting. So when I look here, it's respecting it. I draw a line, it's respecting it. So when I get here, so essentially, if I was astute enough, then I would have defined this area. When it dipped a little bit, did this, I would have gotten in, gotten up here, and as soon as I saw that red candle, I would have gotten out. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. And as soon as it bounced off of this trend line, then I could just buy, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, sell, and then wait for it, wait for it. I could either get in here or just wait a little bit, and then there's a double top, drops down, and then starts to respect the trend line in region two and starts going up and up and up. And when it reached this point here on this red candle, I would have been out at this point, showing that there is a major trend reversal that has occurred into a trading range, or it could possibly be a sharp decline. Okay, that's region number two. On region number three, it is actually away from the VWAP, and so VWAP does not play into any significance in trading. But I would classify that as region number three. So this would be classified as region number three, VWAP. Okay, that's region number three. And in certain cases, what stocks will do, just like this moving average, and this one is, what is that? 200-day moving average. Apparently 200 points is being respected at this point. If I look at here, the 200-day is actually being respected. Here, 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 here. So the 200-day, which is essentially moving up, has been respected, which means that these points will act as entry points as I trade. As long as this range of this box is of significance, I could use that as region number 4 here. And I can use this box to draw a line and say, if it reaches a certain point here, I could sell. After I buy at this point here, point here, point here, point here, point there. So I would call that region number 4. So I would call this region here, which is essentially a 200-day moving average. In this case, it's a intraday, this 200-point moving average. So I would classify that as region number 4, that I would be keenly assigned to this significant movement here when it moved back up in here. And if I saw this and when it did that, I would quickly have understood the significance of that region number 4 interaction between the chart formation and the moving averages. Okay, so that'd be region number 4. And here is another one, which is region number 5. Okay, region number 5 essentially is meaningful because it represents the previous day's low, as well as the previous day's support line. This essentially represents the support line here. So essentially, there are regions that I can look into that clearly demonstrates the respectability of the stocks that are moving about, so that I can make the trades. Okay. So if I were to classify this, and I can definitely see these areas of interest that are essentially marking the points where I can enter. Okay. So these are clearly establishing locations where I can enter. As of this point here, moving this side to this side is very difficult for me to define where the entry point is, due to the fact that it has a tendency to move without any means of significance. Really, when I'm looking at that towards the end of the day, there could be something that's broadsiding this market so that it moves in this fashion. And so what I've identified, at least one, is for this particular stock, is if I'm looking at it between the perspective of the trend lines that's been established, the I can look at also the um, range bound situation. So this is essentially a range bound. So things like these occur on a higher level, such as trend and ranges, right? Those are like ranges. And there's also like major trend reversals that occurs here. So essentially, that's what's happening here. Major trend eh, large trend reversal. Here, large, small, 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 and then here, that's also a trend reversal here as well. Same thing here with this big candle, big green candle. That should have told me something is going on there at that point. So these are the trades that I could have made. I could have made possibly one trade here, and if I was here, I could have made another trade here, too. And if I was here, I could have made another trade. Here, I could have made another trade. Okay. And then when I looked at these situations here, I could have made another trade. Okay. That makes 5. Gets here and get out of this area. Okay. When it's here, I don't know what it's doing, so I wait a little bit. When it gets here, it started to come down. Whether I can see it clearly to see what will happen. Is it going to go this way or is it going to go that way? Not sure. Until I can specifically define the way that it's going to move, then I don't know what this region is going to be for the next 2 hours. So most likely, changing to a different stock while it does this might be one option. But the movements is actually very, significant. And we're talking about 305 to 304. So essentially, it's been popping back and forth, ping-ponging for $1. Okay, so that's another region that I can trade. So anywhere else is essentially a triple top. So there are numerous trades that I can look forward to looking into when I make these trades. And so if I was to have taken advantage of that, I could have had, that's one. Okay, that's one, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and 5. Okay, 6, 7, maybe 8 trades. Theoretically, I could have traded 8 times, even without the VWAP being included in the trading. Okay, so approximately about 8 trades, possibly more, based on the actions here, like this one here. That could be considered a trade as well, right here, trade here, move it all down, and then that would be good.